Welcome to Warmaster Podcast. Today we're looking at another 15mm getting into DBA, MM, so DBX, how to get into it as cheaply as possible. So one nice cheap way into it is that Plastic Soldier Company are doing Ultracast for a game called Mortem et Gloriam, which is, I guess, a modern take on the DBX style of gaming that's got a bit of traction in the UK and worldwide. So they've produced about half a dozen different classical, half a dozen different Pacto starter armies, and this one's classical Greek. And that gives you about, it's certainly more than a DBA army, but about a third of the size of a DBM army, I would have thought, maybe just slightly more. In the box we get a mounted general, which is much use on his own, because he needs a stand to go with him, but I guess we can use some of our cav. We get 8 foot, command, 72 hoplites, 6 cavalry and 12 peltasts. And it talks a little bit about Mortem et Gloriam, which I might look at. I don't have the rule set at the moment. It's 15mm game, plays on a 3x2 and takes about an hour and a half, but that's the small scale, compact version. And Ultracast, it talks about highly detailed, strong and flexible, holds paint superbly, no undercoat needed, which was a real big plus for me. That was a big selling point for me. I don't know how true it is, we will wait and see. But no undercoat needed is a big plus, and resilient to damage. I will tell you now that these fellows were on deal, and they were under £30 for a box. And I'll talk about how much it would have cost you in metal and the pros and cons of that later. But that seemed like quite a bargain to me for all you're getting. So you're getting 72 hoplites, 6 cavalry, 12 peltasts, 9 command. For £30 plus post. I don't know what the full rate is. I've seen some of the boxes on the same website, the Plastic Soldier Company website, selling for more than £40. So maybe this just had a bit of a special deal, but it was less than £30, 29 some in, and it came to about £33 with post. So I thought it was a bit of a bargain. So what do you get? Right, well, when you get your box and open it up, you will see that it comes in all these little baggies. And each baggie tells you which of the miniatures from the because these are based on Xyston Miniatures, which of the Xyston Miniatures the miniatures are based on. I wish that was true. It's a complete lie. Basically, you get a big bag with all these miniatures loose in it, and I'll go through them in a minute individually, and a big bag of shields. So you get a big bag like this of shields, and a big bag with all these miniatures in them. And when you tip them out, you go, oh my god, because they're not all on strips. Some of them are on strips, but not all of them. And it was like the worst jumble sale I'd ever come across. It's like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to spend ages just sorting these out so I know who the bloody hell is who, because I hadn't done any I hadn't looked at Greeks in much detail up until now, so I didn't really know what a peltast was and what a late unarmoured Theban hoplite looked like and what a later unarmoured hoplite look like, but I do now. I do now. So I think I had to split them into. Let's have a look. So we've got we've got the shield separately. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 different types of sculpt here that if you were buying in metal, you'd have had to order 12 different codes, basically, that means. You might have had to order more than one of each code to get as many miniatures as you got, but they would come in different codes. So, for example, this is... Let's see, I'm going to overwhelm the camera, I think, here, by having all this crap in front of them. So, this is a later unarmoured hoplite. And so you can have a look at them here. So, this is the later unarmoured hoplite. They don't come with spears. They do come with shields, obviously. I've showed you the bag of shields. The spears are not trivial in cost. So if you need to get 40mm spears, which is what I'm going to go for, I think they're about 25 pence a spear you can get them for, maybe. 50mm are a bit more. And so if you're doing, I mean, there's 72 spears in here minimum, plus there's some javelins needed. So 100 spears is going to cost you 25 quid, and that isn't enough. So you may end up spending almost as much on the spears as you do on the miniatures, which is something I hadn't budgeted for. Not that that's going to break the bank, but it's something you have to be aware of, that the spears are not included and are not cheap compared to the miniatures. The miniatures are, I think the miniatures run about 25 pence a miniature, say, and the spears will probably cost you the same again. But it is what it is. You're not going to have hoplites without spears, are you? They're not going to look very sensible. So these are, I'll bring some up individually and we'll have a look what we got here. We have later unarmored Theban hoplites. I mean, this is a bit irritating. You get 3 of them. You can definitely mix them in because it doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, they tended to be like citizen soldiers, so they'd wear whatever they had to hand to wear, rather than be like Rome, where they were issued uniform, as far as I know. But having 3 of something, I mean, it's not even a unit, is it? You need 4 for a unit. These are later hoplites, metal cuirass. See, they've got metal thing there. I've got 4 of those. That's good. That's a unit. We have armored cav. So we get 3 armored cav. We have, these are the just cav with a funky helmet, which are these pot helmets. We have Sacred Band, Theban Sacred Band. They deserve a video of all of their own. Maybe I'll talk about these fellas someday if I get them painted up. I think there are 8 of those, or is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 7 or 8. 8 would be good. If there's only 7, you could put a command figure in there because they look pretty commandy. We've got a general, mounted general. We have generals and officers. Maybe you could put some of the. I see, because when I'm doing a command stand, it's got 4 miniatures. I want at least 2 hoplites in it, so it looks like a bloody hoplite stand. So there's quite a lot of command here. And if you get multiple boxes, which I'm going to have to do, I'll talk about that later. I'm going to need a second box. You can have quite a lot of command stuff. These are later Theban hoplites. We have Peltas, we've already seen these earlier. We have a couple of musicians. I mean, it doesn't really matter that they have their own code. You wouldn't really want a bag of, I think they come in 8s normally, so you wouldn't really want 8. And these are just later hoplites, generic. So that's what you get in the bag. Quite a lot of stuff, and a load of shields. Obviously different types of shields. You've got big shields, loads of those. You've got some smaller round shields, and you've got some Peltas style there you go, there's a Peltas style Mooney shield. So loads and loads and loads of stuff. Now let's finish this video talking about the pros and cons of this kind of purchase, this Ultracast purchase. Right, the cons are that I didn't really point it out when I was going around, but some of the miniatures need cleaning up, and it isn't the easiest material in the world to clean up. So it's not, it's easier to clean up metal for sure. You're going to need a very sharp knife, X-Acto knife or Stanley knife, or I use a surgeon's scalpel. You're going to need something sharp to get in there and clean this stuff up, because it's not that easy to scrape clean. Some of the stuff, I'll show you a miniature here. Oh, there's something I can do. I did a test model. It was only very, very quick and very dirty. I was just testing some basing mixture that didn't come out perfect, but it's not bad. I did this before I spent yesterday sorting all the miniatures out. So this guy is right. Oh, sorry, this guy is right. He's a Peltas. This guy here is an unarmoured hoplite. That's a bit irritating. And they've both got the wrong shield. So if they're Peltas, they'd have the moon shield, I guess. But I suppose if they ran out of moon shields, they could have these smaller shields. And these bronze doesn't look nicely bronze enough. So it was a test miniature. It doesn't really matter that it didn't work. Also, I did the painting on bare plastic, and I just using contrast, and I think I prefer the zenithal look. So I think even though it's you don't need to undercoat, I'll probably do a big white undercoat from the top, just a zenithal white, in order to make everything pop a bit more. Because if I'm going to use contrast paints, I want them to look bright and contrasting, because otherwise what's the point? And I do wash them, and a little bit of overbrush to I darken them down, then overbrush them back up. So yeah, that's what it looks like, and it highlights one of the problems, which is why I brought him up now, is bend. This fella bends inwards, and I can't correct it. I'm sure there are ways to correct it, maybe with hot water or hairdryer or something, but whatever I did, he kept bending inwards. So that is a thing. There is some order to what you're getting, and you can get like predictable amounts of each miniature. That would be good. But this lucky dip nature, unless you just don't care and you're just going to throw whatever, on whatever stand. It doesn't. You're not bothered at all, unless that's you. If you're a bit autistic and anal like me, you're gonna have to sort them out. And I probably know the range as well as the bloody guys casting them now, after sitting and going through each miniature individually to check. Oh, this one. Oh, yes, it's yeah. Apart from the ones that, you know, if the strip. That was one thing. The stuff on the same strip wasn't always the same, so it came off on a strip, and they weren't always the same miniature. Anyway, whatever. The final point is that the limited range of miniatures available. So you can buy boxes, you can buy blisters with like larger amounts. So if say you wanted cav, I think they sell like 12 cav for not very much money. It might be a fiver, it might be 10, whatever. It's certainly cheaper than the metal, so maybe it's just a fiver for 12 cav. Apart from the cavalry and the hoplites of various flavors, and the peltas and the command, that's it. So if you want archers, if you want the hammerploy or whatever, the fellas that run alongside the horses, or you want something different, the javelin men, you kind of naked Greek javelin men that go in front of the army, they don't do those. So you're going to be going and finding the Xyston originals or somebody else. I did come across one yesterday that had some really cool looking javelin men, all naked, and they came with their own spears. If I remember the name of the company, I'll put it in the description. So you are going to have to buy some additional stuff in order to make this work as a DBM army. The pros, for this amount of stuff in metal, it would probably cost you about 67 quid. So the infantry are about 62.5 pence each, and there are 93 of those. Cavalry are £1.25 each. There are 7 of those. So add that all together, it's about 67 quid plus post and package. Now I got this box for 30 quid, so that's less than half. However, I have no control over, apart from knowing the rough quantities, I have no control of which miniatures and in which configuration I get. So if I wanted all later Theban hoplites or whatever, or I wanted all armoured hoplites, or I wanted half armoured, half unarmoured, I've got no control over that. I get whatever's in the box. So yes, it's much cheaper, but you give up quite a bit of control. And how I'm trying to overcome that is by buying multiple boxes. So therefore it should even out, and it should give me a little bit more flexibility. Although for every miniature I buy and don't use, that's still, even though they're half price, it's still 30p a miniature that's just going to go and live in a box forever and never see the light of day. How many points would this be for DBM? I think I've added it up. It's about 110 points plus command, but that's using the peltas as peltas, because they're 3 points, and that's quite expensive for skirmishers. See them, a normal skirmish is 1 point, so you're kind of paying quite a lot of extra to get those. You've got 2 cavalry there, 6 points each for the ordinary, and 12 bases of spear at 5 points each. So about 110 plus command. So the command could be another 20 points, so about 130 points of DBM stuff. Anyway, there's quite a lot of information and quite a reasonably long video, so I'll call it a day there. If you like this kind of unboxing, it's kind of unboxing with a thing in mind, like the DBX game system, rather than just a general unboxing. This is what you get, and then give me some feedback. Thank you very much, and see you next time.